Okay, so hi everyone, thanks for coming. Hi Trish, hi Sian, hi Tracy for coming on. I'm sure we'll get more soon. Yeah, Mary, hi Mary, thanks for coming on. So this is a Q&A that we do once a month. I love it because then we can really see you properly, you can see me properly, we can interact and see each other, and you can ask any questions. So if you have any questions on the leather, then you can ask that, but if you have any other questions on any other bundles, I don't want you to feel that you can't ask anything with those. I just want this to be a nice monthly time where you can ask questions about other things as well as this particular bundle. So feel free to do that. Also, we've got a chat box. So if you don't want to be seen, then you can just write things in the little chat box on the side and ask questions there. But it's also great if you come forward and ask. So I'm going to put you on mute in a minute. Actually, no, I won't, because you'll be asking a lot of questions today, so I won't do that. But if there's any noise in the background, say, a dog or a child or something, then it means you come forward. So just try and be somewhere without too many distractions. And if you have got a lot of noise in the background and you don't want to ask a question, just mute yourself. And then we won't, then if somebody else is speaking, you won't come forward. But when you do want to ask a question, please do. All right. So this is one of the ones that I was showing you that we were doing. So I just got a feather on that and a little flower. So I used about 5 petals on that one. And I used a velour leather on this one. So it actually shows up little marks. As soon as you put a nail or something on it, it shows up little marks. So then I have to clean it just before I sell it or sell it to a client. And I would tell them as well that with this particular one, this is from McCulloch and Wallace, it's really lovely to work with, and it just feels like sort of a baby goat skin, but it does show up every mark. So if you get a velour, then this is going to happen to you. So I just use a cloth, sort of a cotton cloth, and then just sweep that gently sideways, because a suede brush or something is going to be too harsh on it. So it's just something really soft. So if you get that problem, then you can just sweep it that way. So I've got the flower and I've just put a feather on, and with that feather I'll take it off now. I had to put it through the sort of quill section here. And what you could do if you don't want to see the stitch, so you could have to come up, normally I would come up the side and go down through the middle and then up the other side and down through the middle to sew it on, a bit like a figure of 8. But if you don't want to see your stitch, then you can go sideways. So I don't know if you guys know that trick, but if you just get a pin and push it in sideways through the stalk of the feather, then when you're sewing it on, you can come up the side and then through it and then down again. So then you're hiding your thread completely. So it looks as if it's invisible and you won't be able to see it. You'll just be able to see some tiny little stitches on the very edge, but then you can always colour those in. So if I ever colour any thread in, I use a Sharpie pen, and I use, well, fabric Sharpie pen, and that then won't run or anything, and it just secures it. So that was one. And then this one was the other one. So with the leaf, I've sprayed the edges of this one a bit just to make it more graffiti-like and have that two-tone of colour. But if you, like Tracy, did you make the red one?
Yes.
Right, yeah, that's fantastic. So if you have that, you could spray, another colour, like a flash of electric blue or something on the edge if you wanted to change the colours, and it's a quick way of doing it. But it does make it a little bit tougher, which then these bits, it's sort of not as soft. So the bits that I've sprayed stick out a little bit more. So what I'd have to do with that, I haven't done it yet, but is steam it and just push it down again so they're all nice and neat, unless you want the rugged look on it. And then we put wire on, and I've just got elastic on. I haven't put a lining in yet, but when I do, I'm gonna just have to stick the lining in. And I hate using glue with things, but just with the leather, it's just, see, my inside is like this at the moment. So I would just have to glue sort of a lining in here. You could go through some of this leather if you want to do it properly. And if you want to put maybe a Petersham in instead of a lining, you can do that. And then you can just catch a little bit of this leather to sew it in, but you just don't want it to come out that side to see it at all. So when I was sewing in with this one, when I was sewing in my elastic, it is difficult because I'm putting it in here and I don't want it to come out this side. So I have just got it right in this bit, and it's just attaching it to the felt that's there. and attaching it to some of the leather, but mostly to the felt, because that makes it much stronger. So my loop that I've made is right up inside here. And I've used felt so that it's thicker, so you can actually then get your needle in through it when you're doing things like that. So this is the felt I used. You can use any felt, but I just love this velour. So this is a velour sort of, it's a more fluffy one. And this is a top that I had left over from, what was it, the Trilby hat that I made with the brim, when you're doing the brim bit, and you can always save these bits. So this was then perfect to go on my block for my leather. And it's quite thick, so you can get through it easily. I only use one layer of stiffener in this, and it's quite tough because that's already quite thick. So if I use my thin felt, which is my normal wool felt, then I would have to put 2 or 3 layers in it just to make sure it was firm enough. To show you, when this is the leather that I used. So this one is the velour. You can see it up close. So it does show little marks when you move it and you put your nail on it. I've got to do my nails. You know, so it does show up little bits and pieces, but then if you want the rough look, it's good. But it is just such a lovely feel to it. This one is about 1 millimeter wide, so it's quite thin and easy to use, especially when you wet it. You might have found that when you wet it, it just goes, it feels so thin, it feels like a Lurex or something. It's just sort of flopping around in the water. So that's that one. This one is the next size up. This one is about 1.5 and it's still okay, but it's a little bit tougher, so it would just be slightly harder to use. And then I've got some other offcuts here. So just to show you, I haven't used these ever yet, but I got these out when I was in my old craft studio. They had a bin full of leathers, so I just grabbed these ones. And this one is about a 2 millimeter, so I would never use this unless I was just cutting it out and putting it on something like a leaf or you know, just a shape that I wanted to put on, but it's too thick to really be going around something like this. And this one is a sort of snake skinny look to this one. I don't know if you can feel see the difference, but that is much thicker than this one, which is flopping around. So I would go for this sort of look. And this one is another one. You can get so many different types of leathers. And this one's more of I suppose a stingray sort of look. It's got little bubbles, so that is nice, but I wouldn't necessarily use it to stretch over our headpieces. So do we have any questions so far on this? I'll just put this one on. We've got one. Okay,
I have a question.
Okay.
What did you use to spray the feather with to give the, you know, the different tones on it?
It was I use a graffiti spray, and it's a Montana graffiti spray. So
okay, does it?
Yeah, that did this. So I use that for quite a lot of things. I use it even to spray quills sometimes, but then you'd have to, it can come off some of the quills. So you spray like a Lurex base on it, and then you can spray the quill after that to stop it chipping off. But normal feathers, if you just want to do a little bit of spray, it won't come off. And this, it's all fine. So that fabrics as well. I also spray, I don't know if you've seen, but if you have a look at my website and you go to the futuristic sort of modernist collection, you'll see a lot of clear plastics that I've sprayed. Oh, and I showed you a bit in the leather one as well. I had sprayed silver on them, so then that's fine. It doesn't come off. So it's a nice way of making futuristic hats. So you can get Oasis, which is the yeah, that's fine. That or the Montana one. Because Oasis is more, you can order that one online, say Amazon, and that's more for flowers, isn't it? So because I always go into art shops, I just got the Montana one, which is always fine. So if you go past an art shop, then that's what they've got most of the time. So Trish, hi Catherine, I haven't yet given a go at making a leather piece, but what about suede leather? Is it pretty much the same to work with? I would avoid suede leather because, well, it's like this one, it's a velour-y one, so it's slightly suede and it just gives those marks on it. So it's going to be fine, but you'll find it a little bit more tricky. And if you wet suede as well, I haven't done it, but I'm sure, you know, if you wet suede normally, you get that you get the different texture. It might ruin it a bit, it might sort of ruin the sheen of it, and you might get dark patches and light patches. So I would just go with the normal leather. Is it Katia? Is Katia here? Who sells leather, so she does. And there's loads of other places that do. I think I've put a list in with the notes on some of the leather places. But McCulloch and Wallace, they only had this particular one, but there is Pritard's, and Pritard's do so many different leathers, thick and thin, and you can go there as well. I think it's next to the Royal Academy of Art. So if you make an appointment, you can go in there, and they've just got hundreds of different leathers, and she'll give you lots of swatches.
Okay, thank you.
That's nice. Then the leaf. Thank you. What if you want to make a leaf using pieces of felt? Yep. What type of glue is recommended? The Yoo-hoo glue is not ideal. Is that so? If you're going to, you mean make one of these and then spray it?
Felt instead, and I just thought, what would be the right glue to use? And maybe the white Yoo-hoo isn't the right one to use.
To make it stiffer, to make the felt stiffer.
Yeah, to make it stick together when you'd have
yeah. I used, what did I? There is a fabric glue that you can use to fit it together. Also, there's a spray mount if it's very thin. Otherwise, yeah, the Yoo-hoo one. But with felt, you wouldn't necessarily need to be putting it. Well, yes, you would, because you've got the wire in the middle, haven't you? But you could always put. It'd be quite thick, I think, to be putting two felts together. So you could always put maybe sew another strip on the back of it. So if you have your felt, you can soak it in glue. You could soak it in the felt stiffener to make it harder. Or you could, when you put the wire on, then you could sew a bias binding on the back of the wire just to hide it, instead of having two pieces. Because this is really thin. But if you're going to have two bits of felt together, then all those glues would work, but it might be a little bit thick.
I suppose with the felt, the wire gives it a lovely vein center. And
yeah. It would be thicker to sort of get that as well. Because with this, you can dent in here, but with felt you wouldn't so much unless you use a really, really thin felt. So you get craft felt that you can put two pieces of craft felt together, and that would be fine. So you can use any of those glues for that, and then put the wire in the middle. It would be the same as this.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. And also what I should have done is put you know how you wrap flowers at the bottom with a sort of flower tape. You could put that all around here as well. I've just glued my end, but if you put flower tape around all of this, then you wouldn't see the French millinery wire cover. You could see that instead. So you could have it in a different color or stripes or something, and make a different feature out of that if you put tape around it. Does anyone have any other questions? Don't be shy. Okay, so I think, any questions about this one, or how I've blocked it, how I pushed it underneath? So this one I sort of, normally with these sort of button blocks, you can then push it in and then you'd sew it down. But with this one, it's quite tricky to do that. So I've actually wired the very edge here. Normally I would wire here and then I would push it in and then we'd sew it all down, because it's going to be difficult to keep it there because we can't go through the felt at all. We just have to rely on actually just going through a little bit of the felt. That's why I wired it here and I pushed all my leather in underneath and then just stuck that down inside. And then this loops here, I have to sew those in. Can't glue those in at all because that would just rip out over time. So what I had to do was just bend this slightly, which I don't like doing, but just to be able to get your needle in, because you're on a curve as well, which is more tricky. So it's just getting it in there and pushing it slightly so that you can get your needle out again. You need about 10 stitches, and hopefully you've seen how I do these. I make loops in them first. So I'll fold it over, make a loop, wrap thread around it, and then use the loop to get it in and actually sew it in. so it makes it a bit stronger. I don't like using knots because I find it's hard to get through the knot, and I would never sew it on by just cutting this and putting it straight in, because then it would just fly out. Then with this one, I can sew a lining to the edge of this one. So do you know the linings I've made before, which are round and they've got the pleats in it, which would look lovely in this. So then that you can sew to the edge, because I would be able to just get it through this leather because it's quite thin. But if I used another leather, say if I use this one, it would be a bit thicker to use, or even this one. Mary says, oh, hi Mary, you come in late. That's okay. Do you attach the Tim on the top? Have you glued or stitched right through the trim? I have this one. I've sewn this one on. So I've got 2 little stitches there, which you can hardly see. So I've sewn right through it. I've got another one just here on the edge. I used 2 actually. I've put 2 here, and I've just put 2 little stitches down here, just trying to make it as invisible as possible. And then say that was black down there, then you could just spray over it again with the spray, you know, maybe actually get some on your finger and just dab it on. Sorry, not spray it, because then it will go on here. Just to hide the stitches and colour them in. Stitch that on, stretch that over, folded that in. I glued this down. I stitched this in, so make it stronger. I'm going to put a lining in it later. And yeah, this bit here, I've pushed down as well to be able to get this sort of groove of the wire, to make sure the wire is showing. This one here, I have got a different piece of leather for the leaf. So that one was made out of that, and the rest is all made out of this. And it's the same leather. You know, when I put it all in the glue and I actually dampened it all, I've used this side for some of them, which has come out much darker, and then this side for the others, which is the lighter side. So I've just mixed them up, I've turned them around. That's why some of them are black and some of them are grey. It's just much darker. And then your little balls that I've got inside here to start off your flower, I got those from a craft shop. So you can get tiny ones to big ones. And I've actually started making flowers out of paper, and whole hats out of paper and leaves and things like that. So I think that would be really nice as well. And you need the polystyrene balls for that too. So if you come across any big polystyrene balls, keep them, chop them in half. And then when you make paper flowers, you can sort of use little cocktail sticks and stick them into this half ball. But we'll do that another time. The range stocks the thank you. The range stocks the polystyrene balls.
eBay.
And eBay, yeah, true. Yeah. So the range, that online, we could just get them online. Yeah, all those places. So Trish, did you find it all right getting your leather? Did you get it from Katia, or did you order it online?
No, actually in Ireland, I don't know if you're familiar with millinerysupplies.ie. I still have to buy some leather, and they have quite a good selection. So
okay.
Yeah, so it's another source if anybody wants to check millinerysupplies.ie. So.
Could you write that in the notes on the side?
Will do.
There. We'll just get the spelling. Thank you. So that's good. And Tracy, where did you get yours from?
I got it on from House of Adorn.
Oh yeah, that's Katia, isn't it? Katia's company.
I'm not too sure. I bought it off eBay.
Oh no, yeah, I know that one. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. And you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Trish. You enjoyed it? You enjoyed doing the leather? It looks like you did. It was a great hat. Have you got it with you?
I've got it here right in front of me, yeah.
See it? I just love it out of that leather.
Can you see?
Leather. Yeah. And you've got netting on it as well. Is that vintage netting? Looks like it.
Yes, it is. And I lined it as well, how you line them, I'll show you.
Oh, wow, did you? I still haven't had time to do mine. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Dark. Oh, and you got your label.
Yeah.
And Peterson.
I really struggled doing the back of it, because as I mentioned to you before, I used the Foss shape to,
Oh yeah.
and I found it really stiff. So when I was stretching the leather over, it was like really hard to manipulate the leather over the Foss shape. I used a darning needle, which I found really helpful, round needle, so that made it easier, I found, you know, like actually stitching through the leather around the edge.
But it's slightly bent as well. You can get bent ones, and then that's easier. Sometimes I have to bend my own needles to get them in.
Yeah, like a rounded needle, yeah, a darning needle, I think you call them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good. Looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it.
Fun.
Yeah.
You got it up for sale now?
I have. I've put it on my little page on Facebook, and I've just put it on eBay this afternoon after speaking to you the other night about it, well, via Messenger, and I've listed it on there as well. But as I said to you, living up north, people just don't want to pay the prices, so we'll see.
Could you have two ranges? So you've got your more expensive range and your less range, and then they'll see all of them. They'll go, I want that, but you say, yeah, but they're more work in that, so that's the higher range, and try and push them.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Over time.
Good idea. So I get a lot of business from my Facebook page, so I'm kind of hoping that, you know, people will have a look at that.
Yeah, that's good. I get a lot of interaction on Facebook. A lot of people talk, and more than Instagram. So
yeah.
Have you got Etsy as well?
No, I haven't. I've thought about it. Does that work in the same way as Facebook and Instagram?
It's little shots, so you would just put up your images, and then you put in your tag words, and it's like a little page just for you. But you still have to drive traffic to it. It's the only thing. But
another good one is called, I don't know if you're aware of it, Not on the High Street.
Oh yeah, but they take a commission, don't they? But then they do a lot of advertising.
I'm not too sure. So.
But they do a lot of advertising. So yeah, I've seen them on TV a lot. I've got a friend that sells quite a lot through them. And personalised things really work for them.
Yeah.
Tracy, I would definitely recommend Etsy. Definitely, I've not had any luck with eBay, but Etsy, I think I'm on about 450 sales now, so I would definitely give Etsy a look.
Wow.
I'll give that a go, definitely.
You do really well there, don't you?
Yeah, and it's just about when you put your listing in, put your keywords in, so it would be like red leather fascinator or red leather perch or whatever, and that's what drives the traffic, I find anyway. It's all about what keywords you put in, what people are searching for, really. I shouldn't give away my Etsy secrets, but yeah, I do really well. I wouldn't have a business without Etsy.
Yeah, you're good. Do you put your Instagram link to put your sort of in your bio a link to your Etsy?
There is a link to my Etsy, and then I've set up on Instagram after I watched the bundle with Abby. So I now have links from Instagram to my website, so people can see my posts and then click on it, and it goes to my website, so they can buy from my website.
Yeah, I think
so it's all linked up.
People are sort of thinking about handmade things on Etsy, aren't they, when they come on? So it's sort of got a base already of people who know what they're looking for. Good.
I've heard Folksy is quite good as well. I'm sure somebody on here uses Folksy, but I haven't done it.
That's the American version, isn't it? I've heard it's not as good as Etsy, I don't think. But it depends on.
I'm not sure. I think it's UK based, but I think.
Oh, that's right. Etsy,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Etsy is American and all over. Yeah, Folksy is the English version.
That's it. Yeah, but I haven't used Folksy. Maybe I should try that one as well.
Well, no, you're doing fine. I think you're doing well on yours, and everyone's going to see it. I think
it's ramping up now. So I think I sold 8 in January, and I'm on 5 for February. So we know what it's like: March, April, May, June, and then collapse in the summer.
July. So, everyone goes on holiday.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Well done. Really good.
So. Cool. Yeah, I've got one while I'm yapping, which I like to do. I've got one here that has been back and forth to the Netherlands 4 times.
Really? What,
I
hiring?
sent it on the 4th of, yeah, so the address was slightly wrong. So here's a lesson to you all. Make sure your address is correct. But yeah, I sent it on the 4th of January and it came back on Monday. So
Oh no.
she's received another one that I sent. So the client's happy.
Oh,
But
good.
yeah, that's, yeah.
That's awful when that happens. I remember doing a wedding hat for a client, and the postman lost it, but she was getting married, so she couldn't do anything about it. I think it was really last minute. She came to me the week before, so it had to be done in sort of 2 days and then sent, and it never arrived for the wedding. And I'm so upset. I'll never forget that. So it arrived about a month later, I think, when they found it. So these are the scary things that happen, but most of the time it's good, isn't it? It's fine.
Yeah, no, we worked out that there was something missing from her address, so I sent her another one and she got that.
Oh, good.
And then 6 weeks later that turned up back here, so so I've got one pristine in the box ready to sell.
And have you done anything with the leather bundle yet? Have you made one?
No, I've watched half of them.
Okay.
But yeah, I would like to give it a go, but yeah,
Fab.
just thought I'd come on and see what people were saying about it, because yeah.
Cool. Hi Brenda, come on, I didn't see you earlier. Elaine and Nicolin, is that how you say it? Sorry, Nicolin, hi. Any other questions, anyone? Please put them in chat box or just come forward, unmute yourself and ask anything. Those people who might have just come on, this is one that we made and this was the other one. So can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I'm excited, and all the colours that you use. I wish I'd done mine in a bit of a brighter colour, but I'll make another one for the summer. Tools essential for leather. So I didn't have anything specific. You can get the lovely flower tools if you want to make your leather flowers without manipulating with the hands. But you need pliers, good scissors to cut. So I use my paper scissors on them though, not my fabric scissors, because I fear that it might blunt. You need the glue. So I use some PVA, some Yoo-hoo, and some of my Cinema straw stiffener. I use spray. I use the graffiti spray. Yeah, if you have a darning needle, then that's good. Otherwise, I bend my needles. A thimble, because you're going to be getting through this. Pliers as well, to be pulling your needle out, because it can be quite tough, and that's an easier way of getting it out. You can, oh sorry, leather needles. I just stupid. Leather needles, because the leather needles slice it instead of actually making a hole. So with a slice, it's easier to hide it, because the layers can squash together a bit easier than if you use a normal. So for the outside anyway, so anything that's going to be showing, if you use a normal needle, and it will make a hole, and you're more likely to see that. So if you want to do anything, use a leather needle and slice it. Good pair of scissors. I think that's it. But all of it is in the checklist. So in the checklist, I've got a whole places where to buy things from, exactly what fabrics you need, what glues you need, and what needles you need, and all that sort of thing. If there's anything missing in there that you think I should have put in, then let me know, and I can redo it and put that in case I missed anything. But I think I knew enough, got everything in that, and list of suppliers as well. And in the workbook, there is sort of explaining what each bundle is about, and some sort of tips in there as well. So I hope you are going to enjoy it if you haven't done it already. I'm really glad that some of you have gone ahead and made them, and I just love what you've come up with. It's brilliant. So well done. Oh, serrated scissors and IKEA, handy for leaves. Yeah, that's a good idea, with a little diagonal bits, aren't they? So that's a really nice idea, because then you can do all sorts of patterns. When I was doing the felt bundle, I think I cut into the felt with some leather punches, so you can also get those ones that it's like a ring, and it has different sides holes on it, so you can actually puncture your leather with different holes. And I used that on the felt, but you could use that on leather as well. So if you had maybe 2 pieces of leather for this, you could have your felt like this, you could stretch leather over it in like a red, and then you could stretch another piece of felt over it, which has got a load of holes cut into it, or anything else you want to do, or any sort of slices. and then layer that one over this one and it would show through, or even fabric on the felt and then leather on top of that. So that could be nice to sort of have a different effect and a different pattern on the leather. Anyone else would like to come on before we finish?
Can I just say to Brenda that that clock flower thing that she made is amazing. The thing, isn't it? It's really cool.
Yeah, she's so good at that. It's really clever.
It took about 14 hours.
It's amazing.
Definitely a labour of love.
You are so talented with that.
That's the first time I've done that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you put it all
Actually
together.
quite easy. It just took a long time.
Oh, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
It looks so real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it looks just sort of so delicate, and it looks fluffy when it's not. What did you use again?
Tiny little bits of frayed silk.
Ah.
Strips of silk, and pull the threads to fray it, and then cut it into tiny little rectangles and wrap each one round wire.
Wow.
And then splay it out.
Yeah, amazing. It looked really good.
Mm.
All your pieces. And the flowers you made with the leather one with the teardrop, was it apostrophe shape?
Yeah.
And then you put flowers on. So
Yeah.
that's nice as well. And they just look so full. So that's really good. On our rainy
I
weekend.
got tools for my birthday.
Ah, brilliant. Actually, I want to soon bring on a lady who specialises in leather flowers, and that'll be hopefully in 2 months. So not this next one, not the March one, but hopefully after that when we do another one. If you're interested in it, I can bring her on because she shows you how to do all these beautiful leather flowers. So then, you know, that would be something extra. So it's more than what I can do. It's sort of specialised just in these leather flowers, and they are beautiful. So if you'd like to learn how to do that, let me know and I can bring her on, because we're just sort of talking now. But if you don't want that, then that's fine. We don't have to. But maybe I can show you some pictures of her work, and then you can all let me know if you'd like to do that.
These ones that I did, that's Svetlana Faulkner.
Yes, she's amazing. Have you worked with her personally?
It's just her online.
She was going to do a new one for us. So
Right.
hopefully.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you've all worked with her a lot, then we don't need to, but if you would like to, I think that would just be really nice to get a specialist in to do that and just add to the leather, because she's got so many courses as well, hasn't she, on
Yeah.
different flowers. So somebody says not leather related, but best place to get plastic heads. The polystyrene ones, Elaine.
Plastic.
Oh, a Norplan, I'd say. I got mine. They're they look a bit like ceramic, but they are plastic and sort of shiny. I don't know if you've seen any of my Facebook pictures, but sometimes I take a picture on it. So those I got from Norplan. They're about £30 each.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a look on there. There's lots of other different things, lots of different heads. But those are the nicest. And you can also get flocked and the polystyrene. Flocked are great in what I started with, but if you dent them, you've taken them to an event, then they just look terrible within not that much time at all. So the plastic ones are really good. Okay,
Thanks.
All right then. If there's no other questions, I will let you all go and have some dinner. Please put things up into the Facebook group, or email me or message me if you would like to talk about anything or show me anything, ask any other questions. And we'll come up with the next bundle soon, which is on storytelling. So it's all on business again, but it's going to be about telling your story to the press to be getting and clients, to be getting more clients in and getting more stories written about you. So it's how to sort of get what you're doing and you across to the press in your own personal story. So that's really interesting and really hard to do. So it's a good thing to learn. And then we've got in a couple of weeks, we've got our new bundle coming up as well, which I'm going to be talking about soon on millinery. All right, have a lovely evening and see you again soon. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Tracy has a question about pliers. Tracy, do you want to ask a question about pliers?
Yeah, it was just, you know, them little pliers that you were using, they like had a little flat head on them when you were like making the leather petals and you were like manipulating them and like twisting them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What are they? Where to get them
They're
from?
actually jewellery pliers.
Right, okay.
I have a few. What did I get them from? There's a place that sells Swarovski crystals and jewellery at the end of Carnaby Street. Can't remember the name of the company. I'll find it. But even if you just go on eBay or go on Amazon and just say jewellery plier box, and they're only about £5. If you can't find any, I can sell you one of mine because I've got about 7 boxes.
Okay, thank you.
So it's got lots of different, about 6 or 7 different type of pliers.
I was using eyebrow tweezers. That's
Oh
all.
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like that, aren't they? Because they're really quite thin.
Yeah.
You also get like the squashy pad ones and
Yeah.
jewellery. Those came across really cheaply.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that.
Message me if you need to.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any last questions about anything else? If not,
No, but we do need to sort out, I know it's a couple of months off, but Hat Week and having a meet-up.
Yeah. Yeah, so we need to work out exactly where, but I'm sure it's going to be at the Morley College, I think, right? So it's not far from my studio, so I know a pub around the corner, which is all right. So I thought we'd meet up about an hour before or an hour and a half before, and then we can all have a drink and have a meet up and chat, and then we can all go to the launch together. So that'd be nice. So if anyone knows any pubs around the area, then put it into the Facebook group and let us know. And I'll find the name of the one I'm thinking of, as long as it's not too far away. I'm sure it's, because it's just around the corner on another street. But it's a bit crazy one. Okay, but yeah, we have to do that. That'll be lovely.
I had a question with leather. Can it be summer millinery or is it more winter?
More winter, I'd say, leather.
That's
Unless
what I
you
wanted
want to
to
go for a really bright colour, because why not do a yellow and, you know, a yellow and green or something for the spring? That would be all right. But definitely these ones. I'm going to put these into my winter collection.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would say it's slightly more winter. It's more like felt. Unless you do a beautiful flower and then you put that on cinema. So that would work. But brighter the colours, because I have seen in Australia, you know, there are a lot of bright colours, and I've seen a lot of these button bases in, say, bright fuchsia pink, and then just putting big quills on and some other shapes of like fabric or some sort of solid hard shapes on the side. So you can do if you use brighter colours. Okay, anyone else?
No, thanks.
Okay. Cool, nice to see you all. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
See you again
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.